I'll turn my volume up, and I will turn y'all's volume up.
None of that sounded like what it was supposed to.
No.
Well, at least we weren't angry, apathetic ducks this time.
We're just really upset about our medical care.
They didn't give us good enough bread.
The bread, it was moldy.
It was just subpar bread for ducks.
You get like snooty ducks who refuse to eat. They refuse to eat anything but specialty bread. Is that why?
I found out yesterday that my buddy's cats won't drink out of their water dish if the pump isn't running.
Yeah. Had a cat that was just like that for a while.
Yeah, one of their cats got a urinary tract infection from not drinking.
That's unnecessary protestation, cat, okay?
Yeah, no, that's just Darwinism. I told him he should have let that cat die.
You gotta get those genes out of the gene pool now.
At some point.
That is the animal too inbred. It's literally too inbred to drink still water. Like,
yeah. All right. Well, greetings and salutations, travelers. Welcome back to the Inn of Planar Crossroads, and welcome back to our Around the Hearth discussions. These go for about an hour, and as the title suggests, we're actually going to build a kingdom live today. And we're going to all feedback on what we think we want to do with it. Where we use it or what we do with it, I don't know. But we will definitely, once we finish it, post the picture that we're going to make today. Well, the picture that we're going to make over this portion of world building. Depends if it takes an hour or not. And we're going to put it on our Facebook and on our Twitter. So, if you guys want to get in on that, we will make sure to have that available once we're done crafting it. So, that said, let's get into announcements. Less than 5 minutes. You can time me. Here we go. So, Patreon is going on for both the Inn of Planar Crossroads and Black Dragon Gaming. You can support either channel by searching us in the Patreon bar there. So, or looking in the description below. As far as announcements, CryptoFox is still working on the last bit of what he needs to do for the 400 subscriber one-shot. Yeah. It should be fun. Hopefully it'll be finished up fairly soon. Let me see. I don't think I have any more announcements. What about you, Tommy? Anything going on you need to announce?
Fast. That was so good.
Well,
hey, Patreon, a game. Good.
Yeah.
Nothing's going on. Because you guys don't have giveaways right now, or we're not going to St. Louis. Fair.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I mean, supporting Tommy on Patreon is always super awesome. Basically, that's the big one over here. Nothing's going on at BDG that's like super like, we must tell you right now. The course remains the same, basically. Lots and lots of Pathfinder, this many and this many edition content all day long. Patiently waiting on that 1.7 to flip the script for the playtest yet again.
Yeah, it probably will.
We've redesigned all of the classes and conditions are different now. Enjoy.
Yeah.
Whee! I would be mad if the conditions changed. I like the conditions. Conditions are powerful.
Oh, they are. Yarko is feeling that at the moment.
Yeah, he's like enfeebled 5 right now.
Yep.
Oh, God.
All it takes is a shadow and a few touch attacks, and things go downhill fast.
Here's Sans shadow. I think it's at 3 that the shadow pulls your shadow off. I was just looking at it the other day.
Yeah.
He has lost his shadow.
The
Spoilers.
Nerd tagged him all 3 times in the first round.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh.
Because he's a cleric. He doesn't have super high touch. He's got a bit more armor, which they're in a realm at the moment that doesn't work well. But that's all.
At least you're not getting attacked by shocking lizards on steroids that are shooting call lightning at you in your level 2.
Hey,
isn't that right, Levi?
I'm not going to do that to my players at level 2.
We got call lightning twice before our turn.
Yeah, that was rough.
Oh.
There's so many hero points at once. Or it was a TPK.
I am so glad I threw out RP like nobody's business this session before.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's not what we're here to talk about tonight. We're here to talk about world building and building a kingdom. So, we can go ahead and start right on that. Let me share with you guys what I am looking at. And there we go. Let's make sure that's still... Oh, that doesn't fit right.
Should probably up the bandwidth to actually get a photo.
There we go.
Yeah. And your OBS looks so weird dark.
Dark?
Dark theme. Dark theme, baby!
Dark theme is weird. I use light theme.
No, dark theme is best.
I mean, I don't disagree, but also maybe I need to update my OBS.
I sit in a dark room, in a dark house, in a dark country. Everything's dark all the time.
So dark!
Yeah, it is December in Canada. Yeah, the sun goes down at 3:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah,
Need to get one of
this isn't until like the 22nd. I'm slowly losing my mind.
You need to get one of them lamps, Kane. Just set it up.
Yeah, one of those grow lamps. Just give me some vitamin D.
Yeah.
Eat more fish.
Kane becomes Francis Root. He is the plant creature.
Actually take vitamin D supplements. A lot of people do.
Yeah,
makes sense.
All right.
I can certainly imagine.
So, let's go ahead and check this out, guys. What are you thinking? Are we going to do... What do you want to start with? Do you want to start with name first, or do you want to start where it is first?
I feel like name comes last.
Yeah, or somewhere around there.
Name and then some basic form of shape.
Yeah.
So, let's decide. Do we want to have this kingdom be a coastline, a landlocked kingdom, or Great Lakes style, or what do we want to do with this?
The Great Lakes style, I think, because that would give the players a bit of both without necessarily pigeonholing one way or the other. Like if someone is just gung-ho to play a pirate, but someone is gung-ho to, what's the opposite of land pirate? Someone wants to be a land pirate.
A mercenary, a marauder, a bandit.
I was gonna say what's the opposite of pirate? But I mean, you can still be Judge Dredd on the seas.
Judge Dredd. Well, you can't be urban on the sea very easily. So, unless you've got a floating city.
I disagree, sir. This is a fantasy setting, and my floating city shall tide as it pleases.
You keep your floating city out of here.
Already, we have to break up creative differences.
So, we're thinking a Great Lakes, then.
Yes,
style. Let me see.
It gives you like a definite coastline feel. Just all the krakens are freshwater.
Freshwater krakens. Yeah. Freshwater crack.
And there's definitive places where there will be no water for like that half of the game.
Yeah, also true.
You know what else? And also that would make the aquatic bits feel like dungeony. Unintentionally. Because never have I ever been on a boat in a campaign and it felt like I was like exploring a thing so much as like I am here, I must be here. Boat.
Yeah, because there's so much water that it doesn't matter.
Exactly. And in a limited amount of space, albeit probably a lot of space, that implies to me exploration. That implies to me, again, like the feeling of dungeon.
All right. So, are we wanting something along the lines of... Ooh, that's moving too fast. Water coming around in here on the north? Are we wanting a southern one?
Why not both? Also, I would think both of them extend off the edges of the map in such a way that if you have those players, or like this hypothetical world we're building to do things in, and it's the next level in Broken Universe, like if the campaign ends up being really good, and players want to continue like investing and exploring, or maybe you, the GM, in your free time want to world build, you can build like past that, but have like, say like if the bottom left corner was just lake, but the lake extended down past the 7 o'clock, like you would know what the top right corner of the map is for the next region.
Okay. Yeah, I mean you could also do like a thing where Lake Michigan and Lake Huron almost touch, just have like a little dirtly bit in between.
And that doodly bit obviously would be controlled by somebody super important, because that doodly bit is probably like a major like trade route.
Yeah, it's natural choke point.
So we're looking like we got one down low, one in the center here. Is that what we're thinking is good?
Seems good to me.
Got this right here. All right. I'll put some borders on that lake. And then we can decide what we want to do then with the... where's a good one? There. Whoa. No, that's not good.
You kids and your gimp.
You kids and your gimp.
You can't afford the Photoshop.
I don't know.
You guys should still have access to Joe's Incarnate from that session 0 for Broken Universe, where I may or may not have put the login information just brazenly in the chat. The entire community can see it. I mean, what? I
Yeah.
didn't do that. No, I'm
I was
smart.
gonna have to change his password.
I mean, it's been like 6 months. I regularly use that Incarnate, and I haven't seen anything sketchy. No one's drawn like genitalia on the wall or something.
That
This
may have been
huge
Joe
Long
if they
Island.
did. So,
Welcome to Schlong Island.
Schlong Island. There's a bunch of New Jersey people up there on Schlong Island.
Yeah, it was. They have you can get a Schlong Island iced tea.
I don't need to know what's in that iced tea.
It's not tequila.
Alright. So we have got a basic
Kane, are
border
you
there.
drinking a Canada Dry?
Yes.
That's so meta.
Yeah,
Nice.
Canadians
I
can't drink
suppose
Canada
in
Dry.
this context, it is.
Is it really popular where you come from? Here's a isolated American question for you. Do a lot of Canadians drink Canada Dry ginger ale?
Yeah. I mean, it's really other than Schweppes, it's really the only ginger ale you can get here, and Schweppes is balls.
I mean, same here. I just no one drinks ginger ale out here that I'm aware of.
All right.
Where I come from, it's Mountain Dew, and Bud Light.
I don't drink Bud Light because it tastes like urine, and I don't drink Mountain Dew because it lowers your sperm count.
No, I didn't know you were trying to conceive. Hold on, buddy.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes
All right.
Sometimes
So-
you just want to keep your numbers up, man.
That's fair.
We've got some basic idea where the waters and where the borders of said waters are. What is something that you guys would also think would be good in this area? Are we thinking this is a northern or moderate temperature, or what are we looking at? How close to the metaphorical equator are we, or the literal equator?
You said northern, and I was like, ooh, ice pirates.
Ice pirate. Hey,
I mean, it exists. You get sleds, you get huskies pulling the sleds, you take people's... If anything, piracy is more necessary up there because the food is so limited. You're not stealing booty, you're stealing literal means of survival.
and literal booty.
And literal booty. I think, though, from the point of view of, like, crafting a world that we're going to have people play in, I feel like if this was going to be much, 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 much bigger, then we would want to have, like, possibly we would consider being in the Arctic Circle, but a good analogy for this would be, like, it wasn't Avestan first it was Varizia, right? Like, if you start with Irison, then suddenly you're the ice game. So, that said, I feel like we're best off in a very temperate area where, like, the summers are, like where, frankly, everyone in this chat who is not Kane lives, where, like...
We all
it's
want it where
real
we
hot.
live. Because
Summer's real hot, winter's real cold.
That is also how it is here. Summer is just shorter.
You know, sometimes you have real hot... You complain about, like 90-degree weather.
That's hot.
Bah!
wimp. All right.
Indeed.
Sometimes
I've been
it
in
gets up
Ohio
to
in
like
the summer.
45 here in the summer.
What's that in American?
I had
I don't know.
a more appropriate number.
Oh, good. 45. It was 45 degrees here this weekend.
105.
Yeah, well done, Canada.
I'm not sure if well done is how Kane considers it when it gets to be 45.
No,
A
let's
little
stay
more
inside
scrambled.
because the road is melting.
Oh, yeah, because your all's roads can't handle it. That's right. I forgot.
You can't handle the road.
We don't have concrete roads here. Everything's made out of oil.
On the subject of roads, I finally replaced my tires, guys.
All right, what are we doing with this?
I'd be impressed, Tommy. You're very little.
Oh, Levi, you have become the Robotatron 5000.
He usually does, yeah.
That's
Oh,
why I
yeah.
don't see the video. So I can actually hear and hear it
Whoa.
at all. Doing any sense.
Yeah, all I'm getting is New Age chiptune, my dude.
Yeah.
Maybe
Do
we
I sound any better?
a little bit.
That's a little bit
Yeah,
better.
it kind of
Standard.
patched up as you went.
Well, I limited my bandwidth back down, so I can't see the map anymore.
Oh.
Ah, okay.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you can type the stuff in that you want to say.
You'll
I
be
don't know.
theater of the mind.
Theater of the mind.
So we've got 2 lakes here. We want to know if we need to have it in the northern or in the moderates. How close are we to the equator? If we're close to where about Kane is, or in the like to keep the Great Lakes analogy, then that means that we're going to be having some harsher winters and some more temperate summers, comparatively speaking.
Mm-hmm.
But it also means that it makes it more ripe for attrition gaming if you have harsher winters. But if you're not even thinking along those lines, it may be something that just isn't viable for your group.
And a lot of people don't want to. I enjoy them, but oftentimes, really, honestly, I feel like that's like one caster solves that problem. Dirt elements. Good berry.
Yeah.
Hush.
Yeah. Yeah, running survival is not easy in systems like Pathfinder and Dungeons and Dragons because it's as soon as you get one person, one druid, one wizard, it becomes a non-issue.
Yeah.
At least in small groups. If you're trying to feed an entire kingdom, it's still a problem. But
Well, it can become an issue if in your attrition game you bother tracking spell components.
But you also like I suppose you'd in the vein of Goodberry, you'd have to take something out of a video Z Bradshaw made,
Yeah.
where he talks about making the holly branch you use for casting Goodberry or mistletoe branch you use for casting Goodberry be consumed in the casting.
Yeah,
That is how you do it. It is very good.
I always thought.
Honestly,
that
I think
those
in
things
that setting, what you do is you and Kane will get another laugh out of this, but you treat it like a demi-plane, and you say that certain spells are impeded or like just don't function. So like in this scary snow place, Endure Elements is a caster level check at like DC 25 or something. So like the important people can get past it, and so can their friends and family. But you, Rusty Dagger Shanktown, has now become Rusty Dagger Hypothermia Town, which is worse.
Oh, I'm well familiar with that hypothermia, boys.
Yes, you are.
All right. So it sounds like we're leaning more northern. So
Yeah, again, I'm still kind of like the Midwest-ish is better, and I don't just say that as a Kansas City boy, but like it gives both ends of the spectrum in such a way that you're not like locked. Like this is what we're doing, and we've typecasted ourselves, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
But
no, I'm
northern is not
I'm
bad.
totally game for being like more in the Great Lakes region, because you'd definitely be stuck in like the prairies where I live. It's just flat dirt road as far as the eye can see.
Yeah, the Great Lakes isn't much farther north from where I am. I don't think I've never been, but I don't. It's not as far up as like Alberta is, but I'm
Oh.
basically
Well, you're
from
also
Alberta.
going to be like if you're right next to the Great Lakes, you're going to get a lot of snow.
Mhm.
fair enough.
Not quite as bad as living on the ocean coast, but pretty bad.
For sure.
So what we'll do then is we'll stick our little compass right there.
The most important part of map building.
The
And we'll-
compass rose.
Or how will you know which way is up?
How
we'll
will you
put
know
in-
which way is west?
We'll put a north right there. And what we should probably do is make sure we use the dungeon font so that Kane gets annoyed whenever a D comes up.
It's a bad font.
What does the D look like?
It
Show
looks-
us the D, Adam.
um,
You brought that on yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. All right. This is what the D in dungeon font looks
That
like.
doesn't. Oh, you're in not the right font. I'm like, that looks fine. It's just a D.
Nope. Hold on. I know how to use this.
Captain doesn't know how to change the font over here.
That's what it looks like. Hold on.
Oh, ew. Yeah, no, that looks like a sad O.
Yeah, it's a bad D.
I could the worst kind.
The
I can
E is just as bad.
I can
Okay.
believe that
Like
it's
an
a
E.
D. I can believe it's a D seeing it typed out like with a bunch of words. by
Yeah,
itself.
in context, it looks like a D, but by itself, it looks like a depressed Q.
I'll find something else then. But let's see.
Rage Italic sounds like it'd be a lot more
there's just
fun.
one called Rage Italic.
I am mad. Taste my cursive.
There should totally be a librarian barbarian that he obsesses over that type of stuff, and that the thing that ticks him off most is the fonts.
So it sounds like you started as a barbarian for long enough to get your rage powers, and then you went into the I cannot think of the Inquisitor archetype, but it exists. It's not the creature.
It sounds like you're just a barber. You're a librarian who also cuts hair.
You got to play the Inquisitor that literally hits people with his book.
Throw the book at you.
Yeah, get a returning book.
All right, there's the compass. Because I'm one of those people that likes to have the compass the map point directly north, and not be off skew.
Okay, I feel personally attacked.
Yeah. Kane.
Classic Kane.
Adam.
Personally attacked. Tommy. I don't know.
Levi!
Shrek reference. Okay.
Okay.
So, when you guys build, we've got an idea of what we're doing here. We've got snow and stuff like that on the ground. And even if you're in the Midwest, you need to decide, okay, what season am I starting my game in? And that's how I can make my map out. Because if you're going to be starting in snow, then you're going to want some snowbanks that you can run over. Right, Kane?
Well, so how big is this kingdom? Like, how many miles across? What's the square mileage we're looking at here?
That is also a thing to consider. How big is your map? What are we thinking about?
I feel like, again, it kind of depends on how much a given person wants to take this and expand upon it. But to I guess to use the Varizia analogy again, like I'm pretty sure you can cross from like east to west in about a week's travel, snow aside. But
On foot?
probably more like on horse. I don't know. I remember Galarian's really big.
Well, Galarian's about the size of a planet, so, I mean, yeah.
Okay, smartass, how big is the planet?
Let's break open our Starfinder books, kids. We'll
Um,
see planet things. But I feel like it should be, if you're going to make the map, I guess I won't call it a pet peeve of mine, but like, I want to, as a player, be able to access what I want, when I want, how I want. And if distance is the problem, then unless like you're building a like mega magic setting, like this is past high magic, this is mega magic, where you have cannon arms, but also like you have to teleport places to get literally anywhere. It almost feels like a level gate to explore the thing. And I'm a big fan of like exploration maps and stuff.
It can also depend upon how much of a time crunch you're on. Also, I'd say about 200 miles across. That sounds like about a week of travel on a horse.
That seems good, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I concur.
So, are we thinking then, with it being 200 miles across, that means that lake up there is pretty big?
Yeah,
As
it's
one
like
would expect from a Great Lake.
it's a 50-foot wide bay. or inlet there.
So,
50 mile wide.
What did I say?
foot.
You said 50 feet.
That's a
That's so big. We are playing. What is
Mice.
that? The book where everyone was a bunny and they called the cars Fruity-Doos. They were afraid of them.
I don't know. We are playing mouse. Oh, bunnies and burrows.
Yeah, as the one. There was a pretty good mouse guard, I think it's called.
Yeah. I'm a
People
big
seem
fan
to
of
like that.
Mouse Guard.
It looks fun.
So, are these we thinking then that this is winter, or is this more of a summer, or is it fall, or is it spring? Because if
I
it's
suppose
winter,
that depends on how much work the GM wants to do. Like changing the map every 3 months in game. But that does also beg the question, come to think, the best example I can think of this is kind of obscurish, but it's in Final Fantasy 12. In the, I forget what the region is called. It's immediately south of the starting city. And during like half the time of the year, all the rivers are all dried up and it's just like barren, desolate, nothing. But then in springtime, when the rains come, the whole thing like flips, and suddenly it's a brilliant verdant green.
it is the desert.
And then it becomes not the desert anymore.
I mean,
And-
that kind of happens in Michigan.
There you go. It also definitely happens in the hold of Belkzen in Pathfinder's War.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, for stuff like that to happen, there usually has to be a mountain nearby because that's like glacial melt.
Yeah.
It also shields from other weather systems that might
Mhm.
change that.
This is true.
So, do we want to then, if we're going to do that, let's put some mountains in if we want mountains, so that we will know where the weather will behave and where it won't.
Knowledge. That means like one mountain. One big old stony boy.
Stony Boy! It's like the Spaghetti Boy, but the Spaghetti Boy dumps his strength and has a high dex. The Stony Boy has a lot of con, I suppose.
He's got a 7 in everything but Constitution.
25 point buy, spent all 25 on con. Don't tell me about caps. Here we go.
Where do we want it then? Do we want it over here or over here?
I feel like more of a mountain range, to be honest. Something that could block like a lot of travel. And also, I did this unintentionally. When I was playing unintentionally 3-point P, but basically it's 3.5 with Pathfinder monsters, because in Pathfinder First Edition, the experience is just right there. And I find that to be very useful. But what I did was I would make kind of along, in my head I was building like World of Warcraft style maps where each zone is radically different, but I would separate it off by mountains in such a way that like it'd be harder but not impossible for players to cross said mountains.
Well, weather-wise, having a mountain range is what you're going to need to affect weather, but we got to have a place for the mountain range to peak at. So
I was kind of thinking a mountain range could start beneath the compass rose, and it could be geographically what cuts the two halves of this Great Lake apart.
okay,
That's where the ground level raises to the point where the lake just recedes back in on itself.
okay,
Seems good.
and then that means we'll have a smaller peak here. And a smaller peak. Probably what do you think, a dual peak right there and branch it off?
Seems not bad.
Yeah, that'll work.
All right.
Yeah, like it's highest to the north, and then like the mountain peak gradually recedes as you go south. I mean, it's a mountain range. This probably goes on for hundreds of miles in either direction.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And we'll get that looking right.
I had to do a bunch of research on how deserts form for a map I made.
Nice.
For Ark Arl?
No? Why would I do research on maps to make a knoll?
For his homeland.
Because you need to know where you're eating the people.
Oh no, he lives in like the like the wooded plains. Yeah, I had to look up how deserts form in places like the Sahara, and it's just wind. It's just wind. I thought maybe it's mountains. You know, mountains are big. They stop things. But maybe there's something wrong with the ocean. I don't know. No, it's just wind.
There's something wrong with the ocean. Campaign hook. Something's wrong with the ocean is a giant water elemental, and it is sick.
You guys are level 1. You're starting out in Corvosa. There's something wrong with the ocean. Figure it out.
All right. What do you
Now,
guys
This
think?
is kind of world building from another point of view, but this was actually I was making a map on Incarnate for my my Sunday patron game, and Lucia was up here with me, and we were making it together. And a lot of times the map, and maybe I just say this because I'm Chaw based, but like as I put together maps like this, they kind of ask and answer questions at me, if that makes any kind of sense. Like, for example, in Incarnate, if you have the fancy edition, one of the assets you can use is a set of floating islands. And I have a map that's it's in a mindscape because I have a party of 2 and they're fighting lots of very scary hard things, so I wanted them to have the ability to make concentration checks and get stupid templates over and over again. But
I mean, that's pretty cool.
But in the scape of that, I was trying to fill out a basically desolate gray nothing map, and there's a crater. And I said I'd put a crater down. I'm like, yeah, no, I don't want that. That's done. And Lucia, just without missing the beat, well, that's what would happen if one of those floating islands fell, right? And so it was. But
You're like,
I
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That's not at all what I was thinking. I was genuinely impressed. But it also it speaks to, in a whatever level of fantasy this world might be, as long as you're not playing like Burning Wheel, there is some degree of something that we don't see every day, and that could apply to like the formation of the lakes, the formation of the mountains, things of that nature. Like, what if the mountain range was just, I mean, it wouldn't literally be this, but like an onyx that was sleeping. In a more technical sense, to speak in Pathfinder, like a kaiju.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, I understood what you meant when you said it, but my brain immediately went to like Onyx the Stone, not Onyx the Pokemon.
What if it's just one sleepy
What
black
if it's
stone?
one huge black rock?
Well, Kane, if that's the case, then this has become the Necromancer meta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you
Need
know
to
what
cast
would
a spell to
happen?
make zombies right there.
Ooh, you
Over
know
there.
what would happen? That necromancer would go and he'd stand on top. He needs the party. This old man needs the party to lead him up to the top of the mountain. Why? He doesn't say. He wants to see it before he dies. That's it. And so they do. And it turns out he's just a very powerful lich.
No,
That they
hard
just
no. You
led
can't-
up the
I'm not
mountain.
starting
and
a
then
campaign like that again.
And then they lead him up the mountain, and what he does is he sheds his robe, shows that he's a lich, and he raises all of the dead that have ever died in that entire kingdom.
You can't start every campaign with us helping a lich.
Hey, Johnson wasn't a lich.
Close
He was a
enough.
dragon.
Yeah, but he's dead.
He was. a
He's
MacGuffin.
dead now. Oh, my heart. All right.
Oh, your heart.
So we have this mountain range here. I'm thinking that there's probably a little community or something like that in that valley region there. What do you guys think?
One would expect, yeah.
Yeah,
Same
no,
is true for in the mountains themselves, especially when one asks like what lives here, and if it's something that can't tolerate the mountains for whatever reason. In some kind of meta sense, I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now, but I'm sure that Earthglide works in the mountains, but that's the closest I'm coming to. Like something with a burrow speed. They can't burrow through solid stone, so people live in the mountains because like the plains are just covered in bullets.
Oof.
Or like dire moles.
Oh,
Which would
maybe
not be that
maybe
big.
there are floating settlements on the lakes then.
Because the land is not safe.
Yeah, all the sharks are in the land.
Yeah. I like opposites in my games. Opposites feel good.
We do a little water world.
Yeah, Waterworld is sweet. I definitely have if I ever publish my home setting, if Patreon ever gets me there is a settlement called Barge that is just arches wrapped together to make a city. And it's defended by pirates and druids who will control winds and control water, the people who they don't want in barge. Just off. No.
Full name of the settlement is actually Barge, plural?
Yeah.
Barge, plural.
You have to get the parentheticals.
So we've
It's
got
important. They'll
we've
control
got
water
a
you to
little
death.
place right there.
Yeah, I did
Like
something
a-
like this in sort of like the soup bowl that's formed by a parting mountain range.
Mhm.
It was something that I stole whole cloth out of a world building thread. Basically, glacial movement carved off part of a mountain, and it deposited a bunch of dwarves into the valley below.
It's not the worst idea.
So they couldn't get back up the mountain because of all of the glacial ice. So they were like, well, shit, what do we do? So they had to live. They had to basically build a settlement in the cradle of this mountain range that later developed into a much, much larger city.
Which
Seems
means
good to me.
probably
Yeah,
have a little lake in there.
One imagines that's where the water would collect, yeah.
Yeah, it would have to.
Mountains at your back, a lake in front of you, that's pretty defensible.
Not from bullets, though. They just go under the lake.
Yeah. Well, they'd drown themselves then, would they not? Well, they'd have to go real far.
You'd have to go real deep.
Otherwise, they strike water, and it's a sad day for them.
Yeah. Does anybody else notice the lake's lower today?
Them damn bullets done went under the lake again, drowned themselves. That water elemental lake has got so many experience points.
The lake starts out as a 0 level hazard, and then it just keeps killing bullets until it becomes a sentient, and then it becomes an
a
elemental.
haunt of dead bullets. That's
becomes
a scary ghost.
I mean, a living lake is an actual monster.
Oh, nice.
So there
Man, you
go.
know what else is too from 3.5? The land giant, which literally I don't remember the CR of the thing, but it was supposed to be the size of an actual mountain, and it would pick itself up. This is super terrifying.
I remember.
Now that I understand how D&D works, I'm gonna go look at that again.
It's like a walking island or something. Basically,
Walking mountain, yeah.
Which
Land
with
giant.
the mountains right here, that means that we're going to have some hill country. Where are we at? Where's my hills? There's my hills.
we can't stop here. This is hill country.
So, need a little bit bigger than that. So, that means we need to put a hill or two. Ooh, that's too
The
big.
land
big
giant
ass
was
hill.
CR 90, by the way. Just putting that out there.
Did you say
Have it
CR
started.
90?
90.
90?
9-0.
I mean, that thing has got to be so big that you could probably just hack away at it for a while.
You probably wouldn't even feel you.
I don't know. I've seen some of your builds. He'd probably feel you.
Yeah, and then you die. Can't
It's
throw
like-
a slice of that. It's too big.
He's like a big old turtle. How is he gonna get you if you're on top of him?
That's the spirit. Just stay on his back.
Yeah, just pray he doesn't roll over.
You just gotta Yoshi him to death.
Rolls over and everyone is dead.
The rocks fall.
Everybody dies.
Foothouse. That's what we're putting in now. We're putting
You
in
and the
foothouse.
2 mountain settlements that were on this thing's back.
Well,
All right. So we've got our foothills. Oh, up there.
Just full of halflings.
Full of
Front handling
halflings.
right there.
and some pumpkins that'll eat you dead.
All right. So we've got this part of the map, a good bit of landmass going with it. What about this other side over here?
Well,
Because
it's gotta be forests. Where's all the trees?
There are no trees.
trees. Maybe like I think for a lot of like map making, it's perhaps more expedient to choose the map features that are not seasonal. So I think like what we've been doing, things like mountains, lakes, trees, because I mean the trees will look different in the winter, but they're still there.
Yeah,
For sure.
and there's going to be a lot of evergreens up this far north.
So what other kind of terrain features might we stuff in here that are not dependent on the weather?
That's a good question. I gotta click on Adam's picture so I can see this map. Mega Giant. All the time. There we go. Okay.
I've just been staring at this tiny thumbnail.
Yeah, except for when Adam talks. Otherwise, I'm looking at you, bud. I don't know. It's... What are we missing?
Cities.
Yeah, but that's not a terrain feature.
Well,
And we can.
a lot of people
I
don't
feel-
always start with terrain
I
features.
feel like a lot of... And I've been in very like high fantasy mode in all of my games I'm running right now, and I feel like the terrain doesn't necessarily have to be like thinking like what we would find on a map on planet Earth right now, so much as like
Oh, that's a big old tree.
Isn't it, though?
big tree. That's the tree. He
That-
guards the forest.
That tree is straight up a mile across. That's a big old tree.
That's where all the druids live. But something more along the lines of like natural disaster that might tie into your world. For example, I forget the name. It's been a really long time since my World of Warcraft days. But I don't even
Idrisil.
remember. Not Teldrassil. Well, that could be Teldrassil. But what I'm saying is like on the right continent, because I played a lot of Blood Elves, too many Blood Elves to be honest with you. There's a stretch of land from Undercity all the way north, from something Arthas did zombie things, something, and that translates into like a very, very, very long stretch across multiple zones of like a trench that has been carved into the earth that is full of the undead. Now, you don't necessarily have to like full zombie it, but something along the lines of a fight between powerful casters or gigantic something or others happened here a long time ago, and like the earth still shows like scars of said thing.
Okay.
Or even like Adam has this in the 9 guild setting, how you have the desert with the magic storms, and I know that's not what it's called. But
Yeah,
you understand.
on the other continent, we have the Blightlands.
Yes, that's it. I really like wild magic. And that's not necessarily like to force someone to use the table, but like I guess more like as a function of nerfing the caster without just being like, no, you get nothing, sit down and play a martial right now. But it's something the caster has to watch out for that is also fun for everyone. And if there's like a pocket of dead magic somewhere, or a pocket of wild magic, or maybe seasonally, sometimes it's dead magic, sometimes it's wild magic, because as the seasons progress, that certain like the bottom right corner of the map say is more aligned with a certain like elemental plane or
So
something
are we
like, right?
Are we thinking that this place is really close to the Fey Wild, and that it, as the seasons change, the entire place has magical affinity one way or the other? So
That's
like
not
in
the
the
worst
winter,
idea.
Yeah, magic flew south for the winter, and now everything smells like strawberries in the color purple.
In the winter, all cold spells are heightened. All fire spells are DC 15 or are 15 plus spell level or are lost. In the summer, you can't just do a straight opposite because that feels weird. In the summer, cold spells are impeded.
Yeah, and then fire spells are heightened. And,
Yeah, but why though?
and-
Like, is there a desert? Is there like heat outside? Doesn't
Well,
necessarily.
you're
speak
the
to
one
the
that said
fire.
it didn't have to make sense. Besides,
Yeah,
it is hot
yeah.
in the sun. It is hot in the summer. You get more summertime. So
I
you
feel
get
more like spells that influence the weather, in terms of like. Well, I mean, you have like blizzards and things, but like, at least where I come from, summers mean tornadoes, that kind of thing.
that's more of a spring thing here.
Yeah, we get them from like April till like August. Tornado.
Tornado since the 70s.
Must be nice.
We had a tornado in Van Buren just last week.
Yeah. I remember Adam, not you, Adam, but Adam, one of my patrons. You guys met him. Was telling me about how there was a blizzard in Kansas City. There was a tornado in St. Louis. Welcome to Missouri.
All right. Well, we've got we've got a lot of stuff happening here. If we play with that idea that things change during the seasons have a large influence on how things move and change, we can go with it would behoove a dungeon master to kind of get an idea of what element system they want to play with, because Chinese element system is different, but that's more of a getting into the minutia of things. So leaving that behind just a little bit, what are we bringing the players in here for? Where are they going to seek out? Because if this is the forest up here, and then we have the mountains here, that means this is probably the plains area.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to decide where we want to put landmarks for people to go to, or points of interest, points of light.
I feel like points of light / interest would be just everywhere, spaced out in such a way that none are very close together, but you have full coverage of the board. So
yeah, they would sort of spider web away from each other. They'd like network.
Indeed.
Through like a system of roads and things. So that way, like say that I, as my warrior culture knowledge nature boys are often to do, like you show me this map and I see gigantic tree, and okay, we're going to go talk to the gigantic tree, and that's suddenly the point of interest I've found, whereas someone might see the lake in the cradle of the mountains here, or that town, et cetera, and latch onto another thing. So it's just a matter of filling it up, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
So most cultures stem out from a central point.
Yeah, you'd do like a all roads lead to Rome sort of thing. So you'd have one very large city, and then your smaller settlements would sort of basically kind of lead back to it.
Yeah.
If you started with like where the king of this particular kingdom lives in the lower right-hand side, all your other settlements would sort of like spiderweb away from that to like maybe to the northern side of the mountains, past the northern side of the mountains, and then up north towards the forest.
Beyond. Yeah. Counterpoint to that, and I know we've already called these lakes, but as I'm staring at a map brainstorming, what one could do is the bottom right isn't the lake. It's where this part of the map hits the ocean, and the biggest city is where the we said all roads lead to Rome, and I'm thinking like Roman expeditionary armies come out here and they set up a town like big port city slapped onto this, and even then it could still be just a really big lake. Because, I mean, high fantasy, right? And then the towns all kind of just spiderweb out and get smaller and smaller the further one goes northeast.
Resource-wise, the main portions of stone are going to come from this little town here. Or this town here, this mining town. And possibly one on each of the spurs, too, depending. That means that it's going to lead down here? Is that what we're thinking for the trade?
Well,
you could.
There'd probably be some trade between like what so far is the. Well, okay, no, I shouldn't impose that. With this little cradle town in the mountains, whether or not it is dwarfs. Because now I'm just pulling out of my own setting.
Yeah. On that note, though, one has to wonder if it was dwarves. Like, oftentimes the quickest path through the mountains is through them, right?
They like the town there. If they're dwarves, probably don't have as much of a need for it. But if that's like a human settlement or an elven settlement or a goblin, whatever, anything that doesn't normally live underground, right here, like they probably have a fairly significant need for trade. because down here in the cradle of the mountain, they have the water here, which they might be getting fish out of. But their access to lumber and textiles and stuff like that is going to be really sparse without having regular access to outside trade.
That's definitely accurate.
But that's very needly at that point.
Right.
Okay. Also, one has to wonder, like, in a fantasy setting, how much, like, does the trade and what one needs to function, et cetera, on, like, an economic scale, does it function 1-to-1 with, like, what we expect to see in, like, medieval Earth? Like, perhaps there's no money system, perhaps it's entirely a barter system, perhaps those trees are some, like, religious something, so, like, no one uses wood for any reason in terms of crafting or making weapons and stuff. That's all stone or some other kind of material. Now I'm going full Dark Sun here, but it's the same idea.
I mean, I do like Dark Sun.
I think everybody does. I've never met anyone who's just like, you know what? No mules. Get those mules out of here.
I hate the desert.
I hate dying in radioactive desert heat.
Big giant bugs are lame.
Yeah, because I got 4 arms. Forerunner to the Kasafa.
Oh, I didn't mean Thrycreen. I meant like the bombardier beetles the size of a house.
Yeah, fair. Now that might make me want to live with some mountains at my back, because if there's bombardier beetles the size of a house, you might want to only have to defend from them from one side.
Yeah.
So we've got is this where we want to put the main city then?
I mean, I liked my idea. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't have put it out if you didn't like it.
Yeah. That's not necessarily true. Sometimes I just brainstorm and then I say a word that I don't like and I get real mad about it. No, Tommy, shut up.
Go, oh, no.
Yes, I do. Oh, man.
So then, let's make a little dock. Do I have a dock brush somewhere? Be good if I did.
You would?
I suppose that would work.
Right there? Okay. Right.
The
there.
scale's a little off, but yeah, no, that would work.
I can make it a little smaller.
No, I just mean having like a freshwater body immediately next to a saltwater body.
Well, it may be like our big
Fantasy
lakes.
setting.
It may be like our big lakes that this is just the freshwater part that leads into the large portion that's there.
That's true.
That flows in.
Yeah,
Or
there
it
could be
goes
like
right
another
around.
part of this lake that leads somewhere else.
Or perhaps the lake is a gigantic natural spring. It's the biggest natural spring you ever saw. But
That'd be a lot of springs.
Wow, there's just like maybe there's some part of like deep under the crust of the earth here, like where a ley line where the elemental plane of water and the elemental plane of fire just sort of like
and guys,
Get
it's
busy?
forever.
Okay.
Yeah. On that
Which
note,
means-
did
which means
you
there's-
guys know? Did you
there's
guys know
definitely
that,
no fish in that lake.
Not at all.
That's definitely
Did
a
you guys know
saltwater lake then.
In Plane Hopper's Handbook, which just came out, there are variants for all the Geniekin. Like if you want like a steam Ifrit, or no, I think the steam is an Undyne. Yeah, or like a lightning Sylph, magma Oread, I think it was, Sun Ifrit.
That makes sense. I mean, they only
It
have
exists.
elementals and mephits for it, so I suppose the elemental kin would be the next logical step.
Mm-hmm. I just didn't realize it existed until
I was
not long enough ago that I haven't been able to make a video about it yet.
I mean, I gotta play a steamy bard then.
steamy bard.
Steamy.
Oh, there was a lake right there. Why didn't I use that lake?
Or I suppose like a magma one would just smolder.
Yeah.
A smoldering
The-
bard.
Yeah, he
The
looks like
thing
Jeff
as he plays a
Goldblum.
board. I just see the
Oh, too
thing.
big.
Whoa!
What even?
Ah! Control Z.
Adam.
Control Z. I didn't tear it up. I fixed it.
Fair.
I know break.
I know break. I fixed.
I only break for a couple seconds, then fix.
Oh, there's some nicer. No, not now, Adam. Don't get caught up in your land. All right.
That's literally the point of this video, right?
Sand dunes.
Don't need no
Or snowdrifts.
sand dunes.
You have a similar but different pack of stamps than I do.
Yeah, I found it. I don't remember where I found all of it. Some of it's from... That's not good. Some of it's from... For those wanting to know, some of it is from DeviantArt. Some of it is from other places. So... Turn that up to 50. Alright. So we have ourselves a little bit of land on right here. We'll have a little bit more sandy texture to this one.
Several castings of the web spell.
Better
hope fire is in here, otherwise that kingdom's dead.
That's just how salty he got.
I'll remind the viewers, web can be made permanent with a permanency spell. This is doable.
This is the spider-kissed kingdom of Ustalot.
This is love.
No, it's
Drow
these are good spiders.
Oh, okay. Good love.
Good. What's
And
love
now-
backwards?
Oof.
It's
Oof.
Thol. It's Hittle. It's Hittle.
Hittle. The kingdom of Hittle.
Are we gonna go with that? Are you seriously gonna go with that?
With all the good and gentle spider people. They're vegetarian.
But they're
Are
dead
they?
spiders then.
Well,
I
they don't
imagine
have
there
to be
might be a spider
vegetarian.
species somewhere that like can subsist on like fruit, maybe.
Just sugar.
Bugs are
It's all
weird.
sugar.
That spider is super hopped up for about 5 minutes, and then it's done.
And it needs more sugar. Sugar is water.
Men in Black reference.
I haven't seen those. Seen the third.
You
one.
haven't seen the Men in Black? That's
I
surprising.
played the PS1 Men in Black game. That
Oh,
game was. I remember it was PS2. It was
Yeah.
PS1 or 2. The game was really hard.
all hail King Edgar.
Mm. Yeah, are we seriously going with Hittle as
No,
the...
we don't
Okay.
have to
You can
go with
say it
Hittle.
better.
I just,
We're just
That was-
making jokes about the webs.
yeah. It was
Mhm.
I was just memeing on you, bro.
Just me.
It's not the worst defense in the world. Permanent webs around a kingdom, knowing that you're gonna just use a spark cantrip to set the entire thing off once the invading army's stuck.
That
make the
doesn't
webs
do enough
invisible.
damage, though.
Yeah, but, I mean, assuming they're sending one hit dice.
Yeah, they
foot
could be
soldiers,
one hit die footmen.
We cook them. What happens if several webs are burnt at once and we layer
Men
them
of
off?
feet.
All right.
Just giant feet.
So we have three over here, three little towns over here, points of light, so that the individuals traveling back and forth can find themselves. Oh, that's too big. Find themselves in places along the way. Let me see. I've got to go back to a normal thing. That's too big. There we go. So we've got ourselves... I need to make a new layer probably for roads.
I like how this world building video has been. We make a suggestion, Adam acts on the suggestion, and then you and I bullshit for 20 minutes.
Yep, that's how it works.
I'm
That's
just-
what they come for. They don't come for the content. They come for the memery. They come for us styling on you, Dad.
Dad.
That doesn't look right. I'm gonna get a brush. That's
What do you have for brush options? I mean,
for roads.
how should the road look?
And it looks
Oh,
roady
no.
enough to me. You can walk on that. Perhaps take a car.
Yeah,
If you
yeah, I
have-
guess that's fine unless you want something with a softer blur on it. So that should be fine.
Yeah, it
I
seems
could-
that the most are just fine. It looks really.
I can
I
take
want to
down
say
the
antique, and
opacity.
antique is incorrect. It looks very simple, as if someone had simply drawn it.
There we go. That's a bit better.
Those mountains are very Lord of the Rings-esque shaded.
Yeah, that's also what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm. So the towns would probably lead something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Seems good.
Yeah, but there'd probably also be like roads from there to the kingdom from both of them.
You think? I was
Yeah,
thinking
well,
that
they
there's
probably
something.
join up someplace, or like the one, like the third city there probably like cuts back down and joins up with the road that comes off the second city.
Well, what I was thinking is that down here is that people don't travel down here on this side. This is your high level area.
Much like the Southern Colony.
This is down south is the PvP enabled zone. People don't go there.
That's the Wildy. Stay out of the Wildy. Go back to Valley. That's a RuneScape. Oh yeah.
So
I
someone
couldn't think of the name, but I was also trying to make a RuneScape joke.
Got you back. Did you know that's on mobile now?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is what a fine time to be alive.
Apparently, it's
what a fine time to be alive.
pretty well implemented too.
Damn. Well done, Jagex. I assume.
I mean, they love that game.
So do we all.
So it's so dangerous down this way that people actually opt to travel through the footlands instead.
That seems not bad. So then, if that's the case, if it's dangerous to the south, one has to wonder what stops the southern danger from traversing to other places, as for now there is no barrier.
Maybe like at this altitude is where the winter starts to get really nasty, and they don't generally come this far north because whatever that thing is that like represents the southern danger, whatever force that is, like doesn't fare well in the cold.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So the like here, like it can get kind of wild during the summer months, but like once it starts like into the fall, the problem stops being this.
The horde of fire giant barbarians all return.
Yeah.
Not stand the cold.
And it starts being like, well, it's winter now, and do we have enough food?
Yeah. There's definitely two different modes of play, which isn't bad.
So there we go with that. But this is really barren up in here.
Yeah.
And then this over here we decided was the PvP zone. So
Yeah. If like there's probably a lot of forest, like if you're thinking about like what even North America looked like 400 years ago.
For us.
There was just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles of like deciduous forest. No, wait, coniferous forest. Sorry, coniferous forest. So if you're gonna have settlements towards like northwards of this kingdom's capital, you're gonna have stuff like a settlement, and then there won't be trees for like a mile or so around, like anywhere near that settlement, because
it's been clear cut out, so the people can live. Sure, that makes sense.
So
like sort of in this like little tree line filigree you got going over here in the top left, like the where it hooks back, you could probably like stick a settlement in there, because like everything in there has been clear cut to make houses.
Makes sense to me.
bring it down to about 20 something pixels.
So I'm assuming you already know this, but you can reset the brush size with that little yellow arrow thing next to it, right?
Right, but it resets to 300 and something.
Oh.
Jesus. So many brushes.
That's a little big for that far away of a settlement. $15? A little too small. 20. There we go.
Yeah, there you go. There's your clay witch. Up north, trees, lots of ghouls.
Lots of ghouls.
So that means there'd be one right about in there. Right about there.
You can see an argument also for, though they'd be kind of close, if that's an M, where the one on the left side is, in the divot up.
There?
Not
or
there.
Where?
On the left side in the tree line, you have, and then not in the delta, but in the V. Does that make sense? Yeah, you got it.
Well, this is a forest line, so that's all forest up in there.
Oh, okay. We just haven't filled it in. Fair enough. Okay.
So it's where we hit solid wood.
Solid wood.
On
That's
the
where we
subject of
hit the
solid
solid wood.
Oh God, gross. I feel like all the like things that live in that part of the world, if well and truly it's just hundreds of miles of trees forever. I'm imagining a lot of races with woodland stride, things that can move through really fast. But then I guess why is it clear cut? Because you have to have houses somewhere.
Well, if the things that lived up there had woodland stride, they would be indigenous.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be this expanding empire.
And maybe that's what that is on the other side of the board, and that makes them like another bit of subplot or full plot, depending on how you want to do it in your game. The like expanding colonialism versus like tribal independence.
I like that our capital city is like growing fortifications as we speak.
It has to. There's fire giants and angry people with woodland stride, possibly also bullets.
Man, this place sucks.
Actually, we're building Australia.
Oh, it's a prison colony. I see.
This sucks. Everything wants to kill you. It's very far from everything. You'll probably die here. If you don't, you can't easily get back. Here you go. In a couple hundred years, you will have the sexiest accent of all time.
It's not wrong. I mean,
Depends on how deep your voice is. Some dudes do not do the Australian accent any favors.
well, that's fair, I guess.
Well, when I say sexy Australian accents, not to like beat my chest at anyone who's watching this who might be into men, but that's not what I'm picturing. I'm picturing Miranda from Mass Effect 2, if you must know.
Oh,
And Hugh Jackman.
And Hugh Jackman. Mostly Miranda.
that's weird. I don't like that tree.
That's a weird tree.
Thanks, Bob Ross.
See?
Bob Ross would never say that about any of his trees.
I mean, it doesn't really look like a tree. It looks like a palette knife.
All right.
I don't see it. Well, it's gone
So-
now.
We have hit our 1 hour mark and a little over.
No, we have.
So we're stopping. But first, we need to have something to call this. So, what are we going to call this abomination that we have begun?
I think we just give it a working title for now and then come back to it.
Kingdom working title?
Kingdom
Yeah.
working title?
Kingdom working title, and then over the course of the next couple Round the Hearths, round it out.
Well,
What'd
that's
you say,
easy
Levi?
to say, except that I post this, and we're going to have, like, world building, making kingdom, whatever.
Working
call it,
title.
and you call it Kingdom
Until
working
it's
title.
over.
What? Levi
I didn't
It might robot to death.
Ooh, what?
Oh, we died again.
Robot.
You're going to have to type it in chat,
Hello?
Levi.
Beep,
But
boop,
it's way
boop.
better.
Beep, boop, 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 boop.
Okay, so I am the big boopist.
Okay.
Maybe it'll get better if you kill the screen share, Adam.
Yeah, we can stop the screen share now.
Let me click off it so I'm not just staring at your face forever.
What?
I'll stare at my own face, thank you.
I see how it is.
Maybe. Man, my nose is red. What have I done? Maybe I am coming down with something.
That's what you want to talk about at the end of the video to try and round out so we can figure a working title. It's Red Nose Kingdom.
Oh, when hell freezes over? That's not bad, actually.
That was a decent working title, yeah. And we just come back to it over the
fire
course of
giants coming up from the south.
When
1d4
hell
Round the
freezes
Hearts.
over.
1d4 round.
World building a kingdom
Round
when
two.
hell freezes over. Okay, I can work with that title. Now you know where we came with this title. All right,
We're
everyone.
fighting ice devils forever.
Dante's Icebox.
Dante's Ice Block. All right, everyone. Thank you for coming by. We hope you enjoyed our chat and our world building start. Now, if you have suggestions for us before the next Around the Hearth, put them in the comments below, and we actually will listen to them. We want to see what everybody wants to do with this, and it is a collaborative thing at the moment. So,
Group effort.
group effort. There's no I in team. But
What if,
As
you
always.
spell it? What if it's an Apple product?
as always, have a great day, God bless and enjoy. Bye.
Bye. If it's an Apple product, it's full of ransomware.
This content was made possible by the generous support of patrons and travelers like you. Thank you.